Well, we've been looking forward to doing this one for a while. I'm here with Dad again, and we're going to do the top 10 Christmas movies. Dad has compiled a list. We were just finalizing it right before this filming.
Yeah.
And specifically, it's going to be classic Christmas movies, which are our favorites. So
Right.
thanks for being here, Dad.
Sure, it's like I was just saying before we turned on the camera, you can't beat the idea of just father and son, Christmas time, Christmas
yeah.
tree, talking about Christmas movies.
We narrowed it down to 10 classic movies, and then at the end, we're going to talk to you about a few bonus ones that didn't quite make the list, either because they didn't qualify or just they didn't quite make the cut. But Dad will share those two at the end. So we're going to go 10 through 1, and then we'll see those bonus. Number 10 is The Bells of St. Mary's. Can you tell us a little bit about that film?
Well, basically, it's a struggle between sort of the innocence, the common, the kids, the values of a neighborhood, versus somebody. I know a lot of movies have this, but the bad rich guy. But in this case, the bad rich guy is lovable, and it has a really good, more believable ending. I don't like these newer movies that always make wealth, having your own businesses, look evil.
Mm-hmm.
And this was this was a very balanced presentation. It doesn't strain believability. It's a very simple story. And I think Bing Crosby, although he started out as a crooner, has a remarkably easy and breezy method of acting. So I was always impressed by how calm he was and how natural. I understood that was just a gift that he had.
And Ingrid Bergman, I just happened to this morning actually hear this piece of trivia, but of course she stars as, I don't know, sister, I don't remember her name.
Yeah, I don't either.
But anyway, she had just finished filming Casablanca.
Okay.
I just watched a documentary on that.
Okay.
But apparently they were going to have her come back for some reshoots for some scenes of Casablanca.
Oh, really?
But they couldn't because she'd already cut her hair for this role, which I guess she had to cut it just to get in the habit and everything.
No, it's a simple neighborhood type of story. It involves kids at school, things that it kind of captures the era. I was born later than the 40s, 56, but it kind of captures the innocence of that era. The boys, they remind me of kids I grew up with, and we were middle class, and so it's just an ordinariness and kind of a nostalgia washes over me as I see this movie.
Well, we're on Meet John Doe, and that one has Gary Cooper and Barbara Stanwyck. Can you tell us what the premise of Meet John Doe is?
Meet John Doe is one of several movies that Frank Capra made. Interestingly, I read his biography a couple of times, and his family, they were immigrants from Sicily. So all of his movies have a sense of true, deep appreciation for our country, the freedoms we enjoy, the values of family, God, and this might not be his best effort, but it makes my top 10 list. It has a message that is timeless, and Gary Cooper does a great job of underplaying the character, looking very ordinary, hence the name Meet John Doe. Barbara Stanwyck, again, plays her best in her well-known character as being kind of a cynical, wised up city girl, and Gary Cooper is more the opposite, kind of naive, sincere, an ordinary guy, hence the name John Doe. He loves baseball, and those two worlds kind of collide, and she tries to use him because she has to write a story in order to get better ratings and build up her career. He's the pawn, and later they fall in love, and it becomes kind of a conflict, and it's resolved with an ending that even Frank Capra, the creator of the movie, had trouble picking out of 4 possible endings.
Well, we're already up to number 8, and we have a doubleheader with Barbara Stanwyck. She's back again, and this time it's at Christmas in Connecticut, so 2 in a row have her.
I didn't realize that she's actually in 3 of my top 10.
3.
There's another one coming up. Yeah, I won't give it away.
Yeah, don't give it away, but I can't think. It'll probably come to me. Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I put this near the bottom of the list because it's still good. It's still in the top 10, but it doesn't have the same depth of value as the Frank Capra movies or the other ones. But it's so funny. It's so well written. She's such a good actress, and the premise is so good because as she's writing this column, she's actually talking about, as I gaze out my farm window, I see the rolling hills or whatever she's saying, and then it shows she's in a kind of a shabby newspaper office with a radiator, and it's all words. She's a wordsmith, so it kind of pulls the wool over the eyes of all the readers until she is called to suddenly kind of live out this idea that everybody has of her.
Okay, next we have I'll Be Seeing You from 1944. It stars Ginger Rogers and Joseph Cotten. We actually just saw this the other night. Yeah, I actually was not familiar with it at all. It was kind of a late addition to the list for you.
Yeah, it was basically, it kind of shot up onto my list. I had to drop some others because of it after watching it for the first time in about 20 years with with the family and my parents this last Sunday, and I was amazed. It really touched my heart. Again, it's in the 40s, and I think I even commented during the movie maybe to you, saying that during the 40s it was sort of legal. People were just glad to have their father, their son, come home from the war safely, and people were kneeling a lot more and not too arrogant. They were praying. They were humble. They were so glad just to have life and have family. Without giving it away, Joseph Cotten is on a furlough from World War II after sustaining an injury, and he'll have to go back. And there's a unique twist with her too. I don't know if we're supposed to give it away, but there's a secret that they each have their struggles, and this is all played out over the Christmas holidays in a small town called Pine Hill. And it's just very, as one of the reviewers in IMDb said, that's the online international movie database, is that what they call it? It's commented it was very low key but very believable type of movie. It wasn't flashy, very steady. And I just thought it did real well. It was put out by the Selznick Studio, the same studio that did Gone with the Wind.
Well, this is another favorite. This is The Bishop's Wife. And actually, this is one as an example of one that I would have put a lot higher. Yeah. This one really touched me when we saw it just a few days ago. Yeah. We actually had some people kind of spontaneously watch this over at John's house where a few of us live, and Mom and Dad and some of the other in-laws and everybody came over. Yeah. And everybody was just mesmerized by this movie. It has Loretta Young, Cary Grant, David Niven, some other characters. But it really just touched my heart this year. And I was curious what you thought of it. It made it high on your list, so I'm curious why.
I wondered even if I had, after seeing it be a little lower, if I should have put it up higher, more high. I think
a lot of competitions. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, the Bishop's Wife has a very obvious, kind of plot pull. You have David Niven as a very formal Anglican, I assume, priest, and he's obsessed with the idea of building a cathedral, egged on by a rich woman whose husband has died, and she wants her husband to be honored, and even in a stained glass to have his image, basically. And so and then Cary Grant plays a carefree angel sent to help out the situation, because in seeking this lofty goal, he's almost forgetting his family. One trivia note is that the little girl is in 2 of the top 10, Carolyn Grimes, and we had a chance to interview her, and she's now an ambassador for one of the other great movies that we'll say, you can probably guess, but she's an ambassador for that other top 10 movie.
I think she's on Instagram right now. If anybody, Carolyn Grimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody wants to follow her, I think she follows Mary Elizabeth, and they've messaged a few times.
Yeah, we've had a chance to interview her maybe 20-some years ago for our show, Save at Home.
Well, we're already to number 5, and that is Remember the Night, which is another 1940s movie, again with Barbara Stanwyck, this time with Fred MacMurray as the lead man. Yeah. What do you like about this one? How did it make it that high on your list?
Well, that's another kind of like the I'll Be Seeing You. It's kind of a quiet one that you don't often think as a classic holiday film, but it's good. It's a good dynamic with Barbara Stanwyck playing a woman who has kind of gone on the wrong side of the law. Again, her common character. Fred MacMurray is a very sincere district attorney. The judge, out of compassion, says, during the holiday recess, she is basically placed into his custody, and her whole life changes when he introduces her to his small town family over the Christmas holidays.
This next one is from 1942. It's Holiday Inn, and this is another one we just watched recently. It's so good. It has, of course, Fred Astaire, Bing Crosby, Marjorie Reynolds, who we haven't seen in very much at all.
No.
But I really like this one. She's just such a wholesome, wonderful girl in this movie. I just like her character. And it's so funny watching Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby kind of go at it. They're both, of course, Fred Astaire is the dancer, Bing Crosby is the singer. Yeah. So there's that tension the whole time. And maybe you can tell me a little more about it.
Well, it's set at a beautiful house or an inn in Connecticut. We've been to New England, and there are a lot of real beautiful houses like this, old houses. And Bing Crosby wants to escape the rat race. He's in a song and dance act with his partner, Fred Astaire. So he goes out there, tries to make a go of it. by having a Holiday Inn, only open 15 days at that time, I think it is, a year, only on holidays, and having a little music and dinner type of atmosphere. It's just, it doesn't have the same depth or values that you might see in some of these other movies, but it's very warm, so witty, so full of good music, and such a great, simple, rapidly moving plot that I never get tired of watching it. It's kind of like eating potato chips. You never count, you just,
I think the Holiday Inn home itself is like a major character in the movie.
Yes.
Every time I watch it, I'm watching that as if it's like stealing the show. It's such an interesting house.
And also a note of trivia. It's a very patriotic movie that celebrates America a lot, and it's in that sense very beyond just the good songs. But it actually filming began shortly before Pearl Harbor, and that actually occurred in December 7th of 41, midway through the filming.
Oh, wow.
So they had to hurry up and add a little bit in one of the Independence Day number.
Yeah.
They added a bit to kind of inspire people about America. And
that was good.
Another big note is the song "White Christmas" is performed in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't intended to be such a hit. Another song, "Be Careful, It's My Heart," was projected as being the big hit of the movie. "White Christmas" wound up being the hit.
Yeah.
The way it is, he sings it, Bing Crosby with a young lady, just in a very wholesome way, at night around a fire by a Christmas tree on a piano, is so natural, and that it rose. It's the #1 single of all time to this day.
Wow.
50 million copies above all genres: country, western, rock and roll. White Christmas, and I don't want to keep gabbing, but
one.
you can look that up.
Okay, we're already up to #3, and fittingly enough, it's Three Godfathers with John Wayne and a few other characters. What can you tell us about this one?
Well, I wrestled with the idea of even putting this in the top 10 and putting it so high, but it has such a deep meaning all about, it's kind of it's a John Wayne of all things. It's a Western. Ward Bond is in there. It's basically a kind of a parallel of the story of Jesus Christ. The town of Jerusalem is mentioned in there. John Wayne and his two sidekicks, cowboys, they're just sort of on the wrong side of the law, but they run across a woman, sadly, whose husband has been killed on the open Wild West. Maybe, I can't remember, by some kind of marauders. But anyway, she's vulnerable. She's in a covered wagon, about to give birth. And all the only help available are these three rugged desperados, but they're lovable. They're almost like petty crime, but desperados. Each one has a strong personality, and they have to help somehow keep this baby alive in the desert. You literally have these three cowboys, changing a diaper.
Yeah.
And in order to, when they have to change a diaper and avoid diaper rash, I remember the line John Wayne says, "We have to slick them up a bit."
And did they take some axle grease or something from the wagon or something like that?
Yeah.
It's not really a comedy. I mean, there are light moments. It's a somewhat serious movie, but kind of a heartwarming Western in a way. It's just kind of a one of a kind, I'd say.
And because it starts out with such very real, it's not like some of the Christmas movies, you can tell they were generated feel good, Hollywood, 40s. But this is kind of comes from a different direction. I probably threw it in there just to alert people about it. It's a different genre, and so I just threw it in there. And again, it's a 40s movie. I don't know if all of ours thus far have been in the 40s.
I think so far everything's been in the 40s.
Yeah.
Now I think it's about to change, though.
Okay.
The next one. Well, we're up to #2, and we're shooting ahead about 60 years to 2005 for The Nativity Story.
Yeah.
Which, not surprisingly, is a great Christmas movie.
Right.
Can you tell us why you love that, or the general setup?
Well, it's interesting because obviously Christmas is about the nativity, about Jesus coming into the world, and this directly tells the story. But it makes everybody, especially I think Mary's family and Joseph, so humble and relatable and kind of flawed. It's not this stained glass image. They seem very human, vulnerable, scared young parents, and I think particularly just a few highlights when they're on the journey. She's pregnant. She's on the animal. He's walking through. You realize how forlorn it was to go all that way to go for the census. She was pregnant at the wrong time in human eyes, but God worked through all of that. But I thought the ending with the birth scene was just so profound, and I just thought they did a really good job. Also, Herod is a really bad guy,
Yeah, they did a good job, I think, of showing the day-to-day persecution by the Romans, and just that the Jews just getting so pushed around for taxes and just kind of at the whim of these cruel overlords, basically, and how they adjusted to it, but how they had to hold themselves back sometimes to not fight back and get themselves killed or thrown in jail.
And they really go into the story of how it literally felt in a small town with the Jewish law and everything for Mary, this innocent teenager, she's like a teenager in the movie, to show up with child.
Yeah.
And her own family skeptical, like, okay, an angel, okay. You know, basically, so it's very human. You realize, wow, in a gospel account, it just says, you know, oh, wow, you know, Joseph found out about it. He decided to quietly divorce her to kind of avoid any further damage. And you really go into that and say, look how hard it was on her. This young girl, first she has the angel telling her all of this, that you're going to have the Messiah, you're going to give birth, and then she has to actually sell this to her fiance and to the town in that culture. So it's very beautiful. We know that God values purity and abstinence until marriage, and she had been truly done everything right, been a virgin, and yet the town saw her differently. And another thing is the three wise men are really a riot. They're really funny.
It's hard to believe, but we're at number one, and then we're going to give you a few bonus ones after this.
Yeah.
But Dad, what is your number one movie?
Well, I'd have to say It's a Wonderful Life. The main character, obviously, is George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart. Donna Reed is his wife, perfectly cast. Yes. Clarence the Angel, Potter, Lionel Barrymore, and the town, the greedy bad guy. But yet somehow you feel sympathy for him. Frank Capra, you know, the story was written on a Christmas card, and it kind of came to his attention, and he felt like, I need to make this movie. Jimmy Stewart had just come home from the war and wondered if he could act anymore after seeing so many serious things. And he was talking to Frank Capra, like, basically about his insecurities. Frank Capra was very insecure about the movie, but Jimmy Stewart said, "Listen, you don't have to sell me. If you want me to play a guy named George Bailey who thinks about committing suicide and then is rescued by an angel, I'm your man." And they just decided to plunge in amidst all their insecurities. In the It's a Wonderful Life Museum, I saw a quote about Frank Capra saying, I feel so insecure about this movie, it's going to be a bomb, basically. It's a good thing he didn't listen to that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it actually did take a while for it to catch on, I understand, that it wasn't a hit when it came out.
No.
So I don't know if it was just too much competition with other movies of that era, or if they thought it was too corny or it was too, I don't know, but I can't imagine why.
It does involve a guy contemplating suicide, and the classic scene in which George Bailey tries to kill himself and jumps off the bridge. There is an actual old bridge in Seneca Falls, and somebody did try to commit suicide there. So there's every indication to think that Frank Capra got his inspiration, walked on the bridge. It's all about, this movie is all about upstate New York, small town New York. Some of the towns, little trivial things, like Rochester, New York is referred to in the movie. I think Buffalo, Elmira.
Well, those are Dad's top 10s. Now we're going to go to the two bonus movies that didn't quite make it.
Right.
And you can tell us what those are and why they didn't make it.
Ben-Hur is the one that I hesitated because it refers to the birth of Jesus, but it also, that's just a minor setup for the rest of the movie, which is basically about the crucifixion and resurrection and the healing power that comes from the resurrection. It's a nearly 4-hour-long movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about it even until after Mom and I were married. One night on the Late Show, while you guys were sleeping, this was probably in the 80s, maybe early 90s, we caught it at 2 in the morning, and we watched it until dawn, and we were kind of thunderstruck. We never seen this. And I'd heard about Ben-Hur. I thought, oh, the famous chariot scene. It's some kind of one of those warrior movies, you know.
Yeah.
Or they call them swords and sandals, I think.
Yeah.
But it has a much deeper meaning. Charlton Heston, again, is from the Midwest. So basically, he did a great job. The performance had to be. I remember one time the director I read about this. During the filming, he was saying, "You're just not hitting Judah Ben. You're not capturing Judah Ben-Hur, the character." And he said, "What can I do to improve it?" He goes, "I don't know. But somehow he did. He developed this character, and he sort of owned the role. But really, beyond the drama of the chariot race scene, that's just a minor, but action-filled sequence. The whole storyline of his development and forgiveness is a huge theme. it brings us to tears, especially the end, the very after the crucifixion, and the way they depicted what happened with the blood of Jesus and the waters kind of flowing, and there's healing that occurs, physical, but mostly spiritual and emotional in Ben-Hur, Judah Ben-Hur. The beautiful thing is that the older man had been looking for the Messiah, and he's about at the end of his life, and he's hoping to see the arrival of the Messiah in Israel. And it's just such a beautiful expectation. It starts with the idea of this child being born. And to me, even though it's a brief portion of the whole 4 hours, it's so penetrating and so beautifully portrayed that it seems like a Christmas movie to me. But it ranks up there as number 1 or 2 with It's a Wonderful Life.
To close things out, what about your final bonus pick, the one that didn't quite make it?
It's about 25 minutes long. It's not a movie. It's A Charlie Brown Christmas. I remember watching it live in the 60s on black and white TV. I remember being moved, and this is the only reason it's on my list like this, is the character of Linus, with a quiet hush, reads from the Gospel of Luke, about the account of the birth of Jesus. And it just moved me then, and it moves me now. I think it was anointed by God. And also, Charles Schulz was a Christian, but a very shy man. He too had gone through wrestling with emotions like Charlie Brown. And the network didn't want to put this on for 2 reasons. A, the whole Christian angle, even in the 60s, things had begun to swing in the culture. Mm-hmm. And secondly, away from that kind of innocence and the Judeo-Christian roots. And secondly, I remember reading one comment, who wants to watch a cartoon about a depressed kid? So,
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know.
I guess when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
but it somehow it works. So
Yeah.
just like, I think it also helps that they were voiced by real children.
Yeah.
And I think you said an article about that recently. A lot of trivia about that.
Yeah. It's so they had a tight budget too. They had to sort of just, and it's kind of reading this behind the scenes story is very, you root for the underdog, and that's what Charles Schulz was. He said it's got to stay. The Gospel of Luke has to stay in. It has to be. So,
yeah, that's good. Well, I guess that's it for our list today. Maybe we can do this again with some other categories.
Yeah.
If you guys have ideas of top 10 or top 5 lists you'd like to see, either relating to the family or movies or anything else, let us know. But hopefully this gave you some ideas of what to watch this Christmas season. And let us know in the comments also what your top 10 are. Did we miss some? What do you think?
Yeah.